on you. You don't want to be you don't want to be associated with those type of people. You know, if the police do show up, and they have shown up several times with us. We always try to let the police know ahead of time that we're going to be out there. Most police agencies, like us being out there. They know we're not going to be out there destroying tombstones. We're not going to be out there partying. We got cameras. If we see somebody that's in the cemetery doing something they're not supposed to do, we will turn them in. You know, stuff like that. Don't break and entering. Don't, you know.
For the most part, local law enforcement is pretty good with working with you. And if you hadn't contacted them and they come across you out there, as long as you tell them, who you are, what you're up to, and you're not belligerent and just what they ask for ID or something, you hand it over. They're generally pretty good about it. And if they say leave, then you leave and move on. We've actually had police officers come out there and take us back routes to other cemeteries that we didn't know were in that particular area, and tell us stories that they've heard for that area. So it's pretty neat.
Especially when you get, people that's giving you stories that you've never heard before, and I mean, when you get a law enforcement officer telling you a ghost story, I mean, it gives it just that much more credibility, They're not going to be lying to you. They're not going to be taking you out in the middle of nowhere, Hopefully not, They start taking me out of here banjos, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Some of the more famous hoaxes that we've heard about. A lot of people believe the Amityville Horror House is a hoax. I don't know, what do you think about that one? You think that was a hoax or not? With the Lutzes? We'll get your opinion on that.
My opinion's still out on that one. They've recently just had a lot of stuff on TV on that, and I've heard good and bad on both of it, and it's still that's one of them ones that the story's still out there. It's very possible he could have experienced stuff in that house, and it's very possible he could have just done it to get the fame and the fortune. And now that he's no longer here, it's kind of
nobody was going to really know.
Right.
I know his son's out there trying to write a book or something now about it. So
yeah.
Personally, I think on that situation it was more. I know they were doing a lot of meditation and stuff at the time, a lot of opening themselves up, trying to put themselves in trances and stuff. So I think that's where a lot of it came from. I don't think it was nearly as severe as what the movie or the book plays it off to be. I think it was minor occurrences and stuff. The new owner said they've had no problems at all in there, other than people just showing up at the door wanting to go in for a hunt, stuff like that.
But and it's very possible, doing what they were doing back then, that they could have just opened themselves up and got them a hold of a poltergeist, which would leave the property when they left the property.
Right. And they did have 3 small kids with them the whole time, so yeah, it could very well have been a poltergeist. I think the Warrens came in. I mean, they're a nice group of people. I personally talked to Lorraine Warren at one point. I just think that they were too overly anxious to hop into that situation. I mean, that was their gold mine there. That made them. That made them a household name. I think they found a lot of stuff in there just to help out with that name, just keep that name going. So, I can't think of any more hoaxes and stuff like that around here or anything.
Not at this point, but we'll be sure to come back with more when we get them.
But that'll be this episode. Join us again next week. We'll have another episode going on. If you have any ideas for topics or anything you want to hear us talk about, let us know. I mean, we are desperate for ideas right now. Anything you can throw out at us, we're more than happy to sit down and talk about.
Throw it on the board. Give us some suggestions.
IndianaParanormal.us. All one word.
Goodbye, everybody.